Hi, good morning. Thanks for joining Your News Arizona. I'm Jonathan Alexander reporting. I've got Mike Grant on the phone with me right now. We've been discussing about the National Guard men that were shot yesterday. And quite frankly, folks, I have to wonder if this isn't an inside job. Is kind of my thought on this matter. This is a former CIA guy that was illegally in the United States. Um, but you got to keep in mind that he was with the CIA. And I'm not trying to point fingers at the federal government or anybody else, but at the same time, it brings up a lot of questions. Mike, what's your thoughts on this? I know you got some inside information that you've been sharing.
Yeah, good morning. Jonathan, I got a lot of noise here in the background driving here, but one of the concerns I have is I got on the phone this morning and I was talking to somebody that I know real well. It's in the know back
you
there.
Got some inside information.
He handles the good morning SRT teams for a lot of stuff, and him and I have been friends for years. And I asked the question: how are these guys, these National Guard guys, are they armed? Because you see some people with a sidearm, and then you see a lot of them that aren't.
Right.
And I'm questioning, why would you put a person that's supposed to be security wearing the United States military uniform out there to protect in whatever the streets or whatever? Why would you put them out there unarmed to where somebody could just come around a corner like they supposedly did, a blind corner? They just walked around, the guy come around the corner and he shot him. And the only thing that stopped him was one of the guys. I don't know if he was an officer or enlisted. He grabbed his pocket knife, and started stabbing this guy in the head and places like that. And then somebody finally shot him. So I don't know who shot him, if it was another military guy. But if you're picking and choosing who's carrying guns back there, we're not talking about Kent State, back in the 70s and stuff like that, in the 60s, where they were on a campus. We're talking about people standing out there doing self-defense, kind of like we have to do in California, and just, you only carry for self-defense. You don't carry to go out on offense, but they're not arming these people. And he told me, he said that might change real quick now. So I hope it does, because we don't need that'd be like putting the Border Patrol guys down on the border, standing at the, looking for the illegals and the cartel and smugglers, and not having guns on. That would be just absolutely insane. Right. So that's my thought. As far as them being involved, this guy drove all the way from Bellingham, Washington, all the way across the United States, and I got questions about, as a federal gun dealer that I am, if you came in 21 late, I don't know what kind of a, visa or whatever kind of crap they had him on. There is provisions in there that they can be on a green card and stuff like that, and they can buy a gun. Now, as a dealer, if somebody showed up to me to buy a gun and they had that kind of identification, they're not buying a gun from me. Right. Because they're not an American citizen. I won't sell a gun unless it's an American citizen, period. I don't care if you got diplomatic documents or anything. I would say the question I would ask him is, what do you need a gun for in this country?
Right.
But, did he steal a gun? Coming from Bellingham, Washington, that's right up there with a whole bunch of libtard nutcases live up in that Washington, Oregon area, and they crossed the United States. He did. And comes into D.C., where we all know it's illegal to possess a firearm in D.C. You can't just carry a firearm around in D.C., even if you get unless you're law enforcement, even guys like me, we can't carry guns in Washington, D.C. It's against the law back there. Right. Because of what they had in place. But that concerns me. Is he involved in the CIA?
Yeah.
Which he was, they're saying. I don't know. You're going to probably have to get more of that information from down south with all the guys you know.
Yep.
I don't have that reach.
Well, that's what we're working on right now. I'd like to know how this guy obtained a firearm. I'd like to know how he was funded to travel clean across the country. I think we're gonna have to follow the money trail too, Mike. There's a lot. There's a lot behind this. I mean, right now, you look at those 6 Democrat people in office that sit there and went against Donald Trump, telling people not to follow orders, and then now all of this. You know, is all this tied together somehow? I guess a lot's gonna remains to be seen. But what we're witnessing,
it's going to be interesting, Jonathan, to see the timelines when
yeah,
those 6 clowns came out and made those comments. And then when did this guy get in his vehicle or whatever and travel across the United States? You know what I'm saying?
right,
Because they could have set this guy off. I mean, you know, he worked for the CIA according to everybody on the news, and that's all I've got on the TV. That he worked over in Afghanistan for him, probably as a translator or helper or whatever, and he bailed out of there under Joe Biden. You know, when Joe opened up the gates over there right before he evacuated the country like an idiot. And he comes over here, and I don't know how. I'm trying to figure out. I'm hoping they'll start checking and getting information on what was he doing for the last 3 to 5 years for a job. That's going to be very interesting. You know, was he working down at McDonald's? Where was this guy working? Was he still tied in, like you're talking about, with the government somehow? It's just a crazy thing. And then, you know, I still get concerned about, would you want to be standing on the street? I always tell people this. Would you want to stand on the street in Oakland, California at 2 o'clock in the morning on a street corner? Well, unless you want to be a bullet magnet, you'd be a fool, because there's way too, or Chicago would be a better place. You know, stand there on a corner with no gun to defend yourself. And then again, even if you have a gun, you're not going to outrun a headshot. And that's what my understanding is one of them, of the 2, has been hit in the head. I'm not really sure. It sure looked like they were working on his head when they had him on the ground.
Yeah. And it looks like they're saying one of them was actually shot in the head. I have not been able to 100% confirm that report yet, but that's what I'm being told.
That's what everybody's saying.
But you know, here's the thing, Mike. You know, you've got all these people out there protesting against ICE, our military, our boots on the ground, and here's what it comes down to. You know, Donald Trump is going to have to find a way to bypass all this and just enforce. He's going to have to enforce this somehow. He's going to have to get the military, like New York. He's got to find a way to get the law enforcement in New York to step up and do their damn job. Because right now, with that being a Democratic controlled area, they're just allowing anything and everything to happen in New York. In Washington, D.C., same thing. Even though we got boots on the ground, they're trying to clean up Washington, D.C. You know, this is the kind of crap that I think we're going to see more and more of over the next several coming weeks. This is strictly my opinion on this matter, but this is what I see coming. I mean, I told people a couple of days ago on my broadcast, be safe. I expected something bad to happen right over Thanksgiving weekend here, and sure enough, here we are. And
well, we aren't over that yet.
And we're not over.
I mean, we got these. Just like I talked to you, I don't know, last week about these city councils and these clowns that we have out here in the West Coast. You know, because they're Democratic kind of states. Even Charlotte down there, you know, that's a red state, but yet look what you got going on down there, you know.
Right.
But these people getting involved, these council members getting involved in national politics, telling people, because they're getting pressure from the illegals or the, I don't know what you call them, the people that really hate our country, going there and threatening them and telling them to resist ICE, the council members, and put out proclamations and all this stuff. What that does is it just these Democrats are just driving a stake, you know, in the heart of America by doing that.
Right.
Then you get people that are not really as I usually say to people when they got a lot of people with the screws are in the wrong hole, and it sets them off. And we've seen this. I mean, look at all these shootings we're having with these people going out and shooting people and stuff like that. These people are not normal. And then you get people at the top that they're watching on TV throwing out propaganda BS.
Yep.
What do you think's going to happen? I mean,
Well,
you're going to end up. Go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, take a look at what the fake news channels out there were broadcasting yesterday. They're all pointing their finger at Donald Trump, blaming Donald Trump because he's got the boots on the ground. He's got the military in D.C. You know, what alternative have they given Donald Trump? We've got our journalists out there being assaulted, our military being assaulted and now shot. We've got our ICE agents being shot at. I mean, you name it. This is all Democratic controlled. You know, this violence is Democratic controlled. We all know this. You know, why is it that this is even being allowed in America? And then people get frustrated with Donald Trump because he's got military on the ground. Well, what's Donald Trump supposed to do as an acting president? Sit there and allow American people to die every day because the Democratic Party wants to push this agenda to the end? Mike, these guys are gonna strike a revolution. That's what's coming. You know, we're basically in one. You know, we're in a civil war right now as we speak. You know, because we've got the Democrats going against us, everybody going against us that are trying to do the right thing to get this country back in order. And
I mean, you just get on any social media right now, and it's all we've got. We got this going on. We've got the stuff about pushback on ICE, and we got the cost. Gasoline's up. All this garbage. What drives gasoline up? 90 in California.
Yeah.
Is that we're paying $1.50 a gallon for federal tax or state tax alone to Newsom. $1.50 or something for tax.
What are you guys paying for gasoline out there right now, Mike, per gallon?
$3.99.9, so $4 a gallon at this one for regular, the cheap stuff.
That's just for the cheap stuff. Wow. Yep. So.
And that's one discount station. You go to a Chevron or a Shell, and you're going to be paying well over $5 a gallon.
Right. Yeah.
And so you got that going on. Then you start seeing all this crap about how the cost of Thanksgiving this year is higher. These Democrats are throwing crap out saying it's higher. I just went down to Target the other day, and it was just yesterday or the day before, and they had all these Butterball turkeys in there. Now, naturally, it's the day before Thanksgiving. You could have bought a 16-pound turkey for $11, period. Yeah. Because obviously they're closing them out. Now, the hamburger is still up there. You know, the milk is $3.90 a gallon, or $3.65 or something. It's $3.70. Nothing has gone up. If anything, it's come down. Remember, we had eggs, and that was not his fault. So these people just keep throwing these spitballs out there, these Democrats, because they know they haven't got a place to stand on with anything that's going on. Just like, Swalwell running, which is right from our city, right from Dublin, California. He was on the Dublin City Council back in 2012. This guy is out there throwing spitballs around because he's now suing. What was he doing the other day? He said he's going to sue the housing people or whatever for the federal government because they released personal information, private information. It's not private when you're dealing with the federal government. He's got the right to do that. He signed a paper saying that this was his primary residency. To this day, I have never found out, and I do a lot of tracking, I've never found where Swalwell owns or lives in the city, in any of these cities around here. Where he's living at, I question if he even has a place in California, because you have to. He comes out here, so where's he staying at? It's obviously top secret because he has nothing in the real estate. I've had realtors scrubbing the books on him back here, nothing. Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, Mike, I wasn't even going to do a broadcast today, but I slept very little last night. I've been greatly disturbed about the shooting of our National Guardsmen.
Yep.
This is just eating away at me right now to see where this country and the direction it has gone. This is not the future for our children, our grandchildren, or for the American people. And we have got to find a way to get this country in order and back on track the way God, I keep looking back 10, 15, 20 years ago in my life, and to see where it's at here today, it's unbelievable. And it's just, they've got to find a way, they've got to start charging these people, holding them accountable, and we got to start seeing arrests made.
You got to start taking out the head of the snake. Seriously, you've got to go to the top of these people, like these politicians that are at the top that are doing all this stuff, that are getting away with corruption and inside trade, all this stuff, and you got to start throwing their ass in jail. Period. And locking them up and taking the power away from them, because that's what's going on here, and it's all been going downhill basically ever since. Well, definitely ever since Obama got in office. He divided this country tremendously. But do I think it's going to get better? Well, Jonathan, I don't think it is.
No.
I think we're going to have a big, big mess here pretty soon in the years to come.
Well, I see a big war coming right here on American soil, Mike, and that's what I see.
That's what I'm thinking.
And I hate to say it, but I think that's what it's going to take to get this country back in order.
I don't know if that's what it's going to take, but I can tell you that you cannot continue to have, as Trump says, all these wins that he's getting, and these Democrats know it.
Yeah.
So all they're doing is throwing big spitballs because they know the midterms are coming up. There's even stuff out there where you see it all over social media, how his popularity has dropped. I haven't seen anybody except that Taylor Greene woman that went off the rails and lost her mind. That's the only ones that I've really seen a lot of people turning on him for what he's doing. He said what he was going to do, and he's stuck to it.
Right.
But when you start this, I don't know if this, whatever is called posse comitatus or whatever it is, has anything, and I'm sorry if anybody out there that I tore that word up. I don't know if that has anything to do with why they're not arming the National Guard, if they aren't arming them 100%. But I mean, I've seen guys in uniform walking down the streets here in D.C. on videos, that they're showing on TV and Fox News and Newsmax, and I'll see somebody with a sidearm on, the typical military sidearm is covering the gun, the handgun, not a rifle, handgun. But I don't know if that's what they're doing, if that's the reason he can't arm them or not. But you know what? You can't put people on a street corner to be, as I call it, my world that I live in the gun business, a bullet magnet. You're just standing out there with a vest on, waiting for somebody to shoot you. Come on, give me a break. Would you take that job? Not me.
So for those of you guys who don't know Mike Grant is a federal arms dealer. He's also an instructor, and you can find his training videos as well under his Facebook page, Mike Grant. Check him out. He does federal firearms training and gets people certified as well. So, and Mike, I appreciate all you do, all the stuff you've done with us down on the southern borders, and being a part of our team as well. We highly appreciate all you have done. That's one of the questions I asked one of the military guys down on the border here not too long ago that I did run across, and he was actually unarmed. He didn't have a sidearm or anything on him. And I asked him, I said, well, why are you down here on the southern border unarmed? And he said, following orders. That was his reasoning behind it. Following orders from who? Who would instruct our National Guard guys not to be wearing a firearm?
Well, that's kind of strange. We got that. And I agree with you. Remember the ones there along west of Yuma?
Yep.
We'd drive down the road and we'd see them sitting in the vehicles. Half of them were sleeping because the Border Patrol didn't want them involved in anything. I don't know what they were doing. I guess they were just eyes and ears. My understanding, they didn't have guns on. But then when I got over to Jacumba, Southern California, where they were coming all across down there before I was heading in over to Yuma to see you guys, I had a couple of them there, and they did have sidearms on. Then when I get to west of Yuma on Interstate 8, right over there, I guess it would be west of Agadonis on the ball.
Yeah, Algodones.
I pulled in. Yeah. I pulled in there down, not at the town, but further to the west by about 20 miles, and pulled across there and went across the canal right to the wall. And there's two guys down there, and they all had guns. And they actually, I said, hey, I want to see the gun. So he lifted it up to show me. Then I said, let me see your magazine on your side there. And he pulled out, and sure enough, it had bullets in it. Right. So, it's like who is equipping these people and not having them all equipped with firearms? Because you got to be, you and I would never go down on that wall without a firearm. Yeah. I don't care. I didn't go anywhere without one anyhow, but you just don't do that because of people. And think about the danger we were standing in the Border Patrol.
Oh, yeah.
And you and I talked to these Border Patrol people about this at time, and a lot of your listeners might not remember all this from way back. But when we were standing there one morning about 2 or 3 in the morning, and I think I was talking to you about up there, and I brought up the question, why are these people not, basically patting these people down very good and taking everything out of their pockets before they stuck them in the van?
Oh, yeah. I remember that. Yep.
And then there was I think a sheriff, Yuma County, or whatever county that Yuma is in, the sheriff.
Yeah, that's Yuma County Sheriff.
I said, do you put anybody in the back here? He says, absolutely not. They're all shook down, frisked, everything comes out. And yet, look at all those people you and I were standing next to.
Oh, yeah.
Within about 6 feet, lined up, getting ready to go over to the processing center, like the meat packing plant, to get their new cards and everything to go out on the street and run around in America. And this would have been early 24, 20, it was going on at 23, but 24. And yet we were standing there and we had our guns on open carry because Arizona. And what would have happened if one of those people would have had a firearm and started shooting it? Let's just say it's a cartel member and it's on a suicide mission.
Yep.
And he wants to take a bunch of people out. And that's what I brought up many times. And these Border Patrol guys kind of, I don't know, they kind of shake their head because you know how it was. At one time, they wouldn't even talk to us. They'd tell us to call the 800 number.
Well, again, they were just following Biden's orders, and they didn't want to intimidate the illegals, so to speak. But, again, like you're saying, Mike, it wouldn't have taken much for any of those to slit one of those Border Patrol agents' throat or just, took the van and drove off with all the people in it. It would have been that easy, the way they were not searching them and stuff. Absolutely right.
And then you take D.C. with across this country that we've let all these people in from these Muslim countries. And I don't want to just pick on the Muslim countries, but these people like Somalians up there in Minnesota, they hate us.
Right.
And then all of a sudden they're walking around you all the time. Wherever you're at, they're walking around you. You don't know if they're armed. You don't know if they're suicidal. They got a bomb or anything. And we're just these Democrats have just, and they have just put this country in grave danger. I guarantee you that the other countries, Russia and China, are sitting back saying, why do we even have to fight the Americans? It's going on inside your country with foreigners that are coming in, just like they are in England.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we're being dismantled one state at a time. That's what I see happening right now, with the Sharia law and all the bullshit coming in from the Muslims, and then now all this crap and our invasion on our borders, and then now we've got this to deal with, and Donald Trump has his hands full trying to get all this under control. And it's going to take a lot of people to get involved here. You
remember the history of when Germany was invading all of Europe, and all these higher ranking people that were in these other countries, whether it was Poland, any of the countries over there that were being invaded, how those people actually started siding with the German army, or the Nazis, if you want to call it. And I don't want to get into swastika Nazis, all this kind of stuff. I'm just saying how they started siding with them against their own people. Right. That's what the Democrats are doing, in my opinion. And I'm not saying we got, Hitler-style people, they're siding with, but they are siding with that kind of deal with the Koreas, the Muslim nations, and all these other countries, or all these people that are in our country. They're siding with these people. What do you think that those people will do to them if they would ever take our country totally over? Like they're trying to do in England, and start putting in people at the higher level jobs, like the guy in New York City.
And I can tell you right now, you and I would be the person they'd put in a death camp.
If we'd even make it to the death camp.
If we even made it that far.
You might be standing on a corner and you might end up getting a bullet in the head.
So, yeah. Well, speaking of which, I've been getting a lot of prank calls lately since we've been covering a lot of these stories. A lot of people will call me up. There's not a person on the other end. I try to call the number back just to see who it was, and it says you can't complete the call. It's dialed. So they're calling me from some source out there to where you can't call the number back or anything else. And
well, so all I can tell you is the facts that I do every day.
Yep.
Every day. When I got cameras totally around my property, around my house and everything.
Oh, so do I.
Because I'm a federal dealer. And I mean, I can be anywhere in the country, and my phone is showing me everything that's going on inside and outside this house.
Yep.
Some people say, "Wow, that's pretty insecure." Well, not when you're a federal gun dealer, it isn't, and you got a lot of wackos out there, and they need guns.
Yep.
And then you got your situation going on. You live in kind of a rural area, basically out there in the country. I would say, you're not living around a town that's got, like I live around, where there's 72,000 or 3.5 or 4 million people in a circle around us.
Right.
So you're on your own out there. So I would highly suggest to anybody that's in that situation that Jonathan's in, or even myself that's on his channel here, you better make sure that you are getting some kind of situational awareness training to keep your eyes peeled for people. And I'm not talking running around like you're nervous with a military helmet on, acting like you're getting ready to have World War VI come to your front yard. But you better be aware, and especially a lot of women that are out there. The holidays coming on, and I've always am scared about the holidays, whether it's Christmas or Thanksgiving, because these people want to make a statement.
Right.
Going to these outdoor concerts, because guess what? I can't carry a gun into an outdoors concert because they're checking us with the wands and everything like that. Well, you better be looking for your exits. You better spend some time doing it. I mean, you don't want to live in paranoia, then go ahead. Yeah. I guess I'm paranoid because I don't want to end up getting shot. So,
well, when you go to those kind of things, you're just kind of a sitting duck is what you are. So I agree with you, Mike. And there's too many people out there that's not trained up. A lot of women out there don't even know how to load a magazine. And I suggest highly, like you're saying, that you guys do seek the training that you need. If you're out in California, look Mike Grant up. Again, he's on Facebook. Mike will put you through the training, at least get you to where you understand.
And if they look at the videos, I do not get paid for any stuff that I do on social media. Nothing.
Yeah.
That's not my goal.
Yeah.
My goal is to have people watch the videos, understand what I'm trying to tell them. And you know what? There's going to be somebody that's not going to agree, and I accept that 100%. And that's the way it is. But, take a good look at some of that stuff, because just one tip out of 20 that I'm doing might help save you, give you a better chance.
Right.
Just remember one thing about gunfighting. There's no rules in gunfighting, and you know what? If you cheat, you win. So remember that. If you cheat in anything like that, you're going to win. It's the guy that thinks, well, I'm going to stand here and I'm going to wait for him to draw his weapon first. When I know he's going to do it, we're going to do the gun smoke shootout. No, you're going to end up probably getting shot. And these people just are like this guy in Washington D.C. I mean, I hope that the FBI is very transparent about what happened, and I know I'm going to be calling my buddy all the time back there that I know, because I want to make sure that we find out exactly what's going on and what we have to be, because it spreads across, and these Democrats talking stuff, and you're a big target. You know, I mean, they want to shut you up. There's no doubt about it. They want to shut everybody up that's speaking out, and that's you.
Hey, Mike, I'm going to share one of your training videos real quick with the people real quick so that they can see what you're doing out there. So give me 1 second.
Well, hopefully you find a good one.
Yeah.
So
I'm just sharing the last broadcast you did.
Okay. Arm's length from the target for your training. Remember that. So you're back, so you're not sticking your gun. You know, your gun's going to be right here. So we'll get started. 3 rounds, 2 separate strings. Remember, if you haven't done this before, do it slow or you'll end up probably shooting your hand. This is the important hand to keep out of the way. Nice and slow. I'll try to speed it up a little bit here and get a good time so you understand. 3 shots on a buzzer.
Got it up and running, Jonathan?
Yep, it's running. I'm showing people.
Okay.
Time was
I don't
168.
know what it is because I'm driving.
Remember, all these rounds are up in here.
Right,
that's where you want the rounds at, not down here. Remember, tuck that elbow in.
Oh yeah, that
would
probably be
the
last one I did would have been something with probably retention shooting, where the gun's close because you're really close to the gun.
Right.
My last video.
You can see that target went to hell real quick, didn't it?
Nope.
That's good. That's what you want. We'll get the target back up here.
Well,
I'm going to
anyways,
pause this and get it
I think they get the general. I think they get the general
back
idea.
now. The
I
time
hope
on that.
everybody out there has a great Thanksgiving and everything, and keep all these military people that are back there, our law enforcement, and especially the Border Patrol people and the Secret Service and Homeland Security people, even the TSA, the ones that I call them the one stripers at the airports that we always get mad at because they make you put your keys there or do this, and they got a strenuous job too. It's a thankless job, really. I mean, you're going to get standing there taking crap from the public because you make them take their shoes off or something, or they got to get patted down. It's a thankless job, but you know what? If they don't do that, how many people have on an airplane trying to light a shoe on fire? You know what I'm saying? That's how bad it is.
Well, Mike, real quick, and I'm going to let you go. One of the big reasons why I said, in my opinion, I think this might be an inside job. Here we got all this stuff going on. These Democrats are trying to turn the American people against President Trump every day. What better way than to bring in somebody that is well trained to come in and take out some of our soldiers? I would like to see where this matter goes. I guess it'll answer our question if they quit this guy or find some reason to quit him. To where they say, well, they failed to do the proper due process, and we're just going to let this guy off the hook now. Kind of like what they've done with Comey and other people. Every time you turn around, these corrupt son of a bitches are getting off scot-free. And this is why I said arrests have got to start being made. The American people are starting to lose confidence in our government. I mean, I've lost confidence in our government years ago, but, a lot of the people that had lost confidence are starting to really lose confidence now because the corruption is right there before their very eyes, and they're still seeing these people walk away. Hey, Mike, love you, brother.
Well, be safe.
Happy Thanksgiving to you, and
Okay.
we'll have you back on our show soon.
We'll see you later.
All right, God
Thank you.
bless.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye. All right, guys, like I said, I wasn't going to do a broadcast today. This has been bothering me greatly about the shooting with our National Guardsmen. I'm broadcasting today on YouTube, Rumble, and Facebook. So we did get our Rumble channel up and running for Your News Arizona. And we're also on Telegram under Your News Arizona for those of you guys out there on Telegram. So all I keep asking from you guys is just like, share our stories, get it out there to the American people. Follow us, whatever you got to do. We're focused on getting the real news out to America, not this fake news bullshit. And I always try to do my best at getting the most reliable news that we can to you. And if we're wrong, we're going to flat out let you guys know we're in the wrong. Like yesterday when I was doing a live broadcast on the shooting, I announced that those National Guard soldiers were dead. The reason why I announced that is because that came across from Fox News as I'm reporting live to you guys, and they announced that the National Guardsmen were dead. But evidently, they're still hanging in there. Keep them in your thoughts and prayers this Thanksgiving. And other than that, guys, we'll be live tomorrow at 10 a.m. Mountain Time, 9 Pacific. Jonathan and Julie D in the morning. Hope you guys can tune in. Happy Thanksgiving to all you guys out there and to all my fans out there and people following me. Love all of you guys. God bless you. Be safe. And just stay alert, Patriots. And we'll see you tomorrow at 10 a.m.